Hello friends, welcome back. Now we are in the series of data visualization and graphs. In previous video we have seen the introduction to the data visualization, what is data visualization, why we need it. Also we have seen the difference between graphs and charts, and we have seen the types of graphs and charts. So from this video we will see all these types one by one in detail. Okay, so let's start to this video. Then first type is the line graphs or line charts. So the line graphs are represented by a group of data points joined together by a straight line, and each of these data points describe the relationship between the vertical and horizontal axis on the graph. As well as the graph may ascend, descend, or do both, means ascending and descending, depending upon what kind of data is being visualized, means what kind of relation is there between the horizontal and vertical axis. The first subtype of this line graph is a simple line graph. And in simple line graph, only one line is plotted on the graph. On that graph, on one axis that defines the independent variable, while the other axis defines the dependent variable. So here the figure shows a simple line graph where there are the x-axis and y-axis. So the x-axis is the independent variable, and on y-axis there is a dependent variable. So as this is a simple line graph, there will be only one line that connects all the points which are we have plot by using the x and y coordinates. So the line that line will join all the points, as well as depending upon the relationship between x and y, that line will ascend or descend. Now in this case the line is in both conditions, means that line is ascending as well as that line is descending. Also this type of graph can be used when we have just two variable, that is x, that is one variable is plot on the x-axis and the other variable we plot on it on the y-axis, and there are a fewer number of points in between these two variables. When there are very large number of points or large number of readings in that data set, then we have to use the different type of graph, right? When there are fewer points, then we can use the line graph, and we can connect all the points through the line. As well as while reading this type of graph, we can read it as the for value of x, what is the value of y, means for the value 1 on x-axis, the y value will be 200, and for the value of 2 on x-axis, the value of y will be 100 likewise. So this was the first type of linear or line graph, that is simple line graph. Next type is multiple line graph, and as the name suggests, the multiple line graph contains two or more lines representing more than one variable in the dataset. This type of graph can be used to study more variables over the same period of time. Means in the multiple line graph, there will be one common variable on the x-axis, and there will be all the dependent variable on the y-axis. So as shown in this graph, there are data 1, data 2, data 3, 4 and 5. There are 5 dependent variables on a common x-axis, and to identify the values or the points of all the dependent variables, all the lines are plotted by using different line type or different color. As well as sometimes the line can be represented by the different line weights also. And again, there will be one common x-axis and different y-axis, means the values or the points on the y-axis will be same, but the representation points will be different. Okay, so and how can we read this graph? So here we have to compare the values of y-axis for the same x-axis, means for the value 1 on x-axis, there will be 5 or less, means there will be at least 5 different values on y-axis. So for the data 1, the value of y-axis is 200. For data 2 it is between 200 and 250, while for data 3 the value of y-axis is just 100. So we can compare the values of y-axis depending on the x-axis also. So this type is called as multiple line graph. Then the next type of the graph is a bar graph or bar charts, where a bar chart is a graph represented by spaced rectangular bars that describe the data points in a set of data. Again, it is usually used to plot discrete as well as categorical data, and although the rectangular bar in bar charts are mostly placed vertically, they can also be placed horizontally. Means this bar can be put or plot on the horizontal orientation also. So as the name suggests, it will use the different bars, as well as this mentioned here that it can plot discrete as well as categorical data. So while we are using the discrete data, we can make the different groups of the data and we can plot it by using the bars. And the group, just as shown in this figure, their first reading is less than 18, means all the values which are less than 18 will be in this place. Then the values ranging from 18 to 29 will be inside this bar, as well as the values ranging from 30 to 39 on this bar, and so on. Okay, so this type or this method of combining the values is called as creating a bin. Means the 18 to 29 will be called as a bin. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 bins in this graph. Also on the y-axis it will plot all the total values or the total value counts inside this bin. Okay, so here we can see on x-axis there is age group, and on y-axis it is saying records. Means 1k, 2k means 1000, 2000, 3000 records. Means this graph will show within this bin, means within this age group of 18 to 29, how many records are present in our database. Means for 18 to 29 there are 7k records, for 30 to 39 there are 8k, means 8000 records. So likewise we can read these types of graphs. Then we will move next type, that is the subtype of bar chart, that is grouped bar chart. Now the grouped bar chart are used when datasets have subgroups that need to be visualized on the same graph, as well as each subgroup is usually differentiated from the other by shading them with distinct color or distinct patterns. Okay, so here this graph shows there are 4 teams A, B, C and D, and within these 4 teams there are again 4 rounds, that is round 1, round 2, round 3 and round 4. Now these 4 teams are appearing to these rounds. So means there will be data for team A, there for these 4 rounds there will be data for team B for these 4, and similarly for C and D also. So how we can explain that data set? So we can make the bar chart and we can make a group of bar chart for the respective teams that is shown in this figure. Means for A there is a score of round 1, score of round 2, score of round 3 and score of round 4. Similarly for the B also there is a score of round 1, 2, 3 and 4. So by grouping this bar chart we can identify which team has performed better in which round. Also we can calculate their scores for each round also. So for team A the score for first round is 10, for second round it is 20, again for third round the score is 10, and for the fourth round it is 30. So we can make the total of it and we can find out the total score also, as well as we can find out who is the topper for the respective rounds. Means for round 1 team B has scored highest, as well as for the round 4 team C scored the lowest. So in this manner we can read or interpret the grouped bar chart. So now next type of our bar chart is the stacked bar chart. Now the stacked bar graphs are also used to show the subgroups in the dataset, but in this case the rectangular bars defining each group are stacked on top of each other. Means instead of placing the bars side of each other in stacked bar chart, we are placing them over each other, means we are stacking them, right? So this is the one of the example of stacked bar chart. Now this example shows the monthly expenses. This is the title shows the expenses by months, means it is showing the expenses of 4 different months. So here we can, now the advantage of stacked bar chart is we can find out the total directly. We don't need to calculate it manually or make the actual calculations. So here by addition or making just the top, we can find out the total of all the charts or all the bars also, right? So here we can see there are, in each bar there are 1, 2, 3 and 4 categories. These are utilities, rent, food and gasolines, means the expenses for that month which are for these subtypes, means how much expenses was there for utilities, how much for rent, how much for food and how much for the gasoline. So by just viewing this, we can find out that for this third month we are having the higher expenses, and by comparing the size of this colored stack part, we can find out which category has the more expenses. For example, in the third bar, we can see the food part or the food stack is having the higher height, means we can conclude that for this particular month the expenses for the foods were higher. That's why the total expenses were high in these particular months. So this is the again example of stacked bar chart. Then we will move to the next type, that is the segmented bar chart. Now this is the again type of the stacked chart, where each stacked bar shows the percentage of its discrete value from the total value, and the total percentage is 100%. So in a simple stacked chart, we were showing the values directly, the values from the data set, and we were showing the total of that values. But in segmented bar chart, we show the percentage of its discrete value, right? And the total percentage is always 100%, right? Just like here the graph shows the answers from the male and female persons, and the question was what is your favorite sport, and the options were baseball, basketball and football. So the total will be always 100, means both of them have given answer for this question, and depending on that 100%, we divide that 100% as per the answers given by the say male and female candidates, right? So for baseball, we can say the more female, means the baseball is having more female fans while the less male fans. And for football, we can interpret as the male, for the male the favorite sport is football, and for female the least favorite sport is football, right? So we will move to the next type, that is the pie chart. Now pie chart is a circular graph which is used to illustrate numerical proportions in a data set. This graph is usually divided into various sectors, where each sector represents the proportion of a particular numerical element in that set, and this figure shows a simple pie chart. अब देखो, जो सेगमेंटेड बार चार्ट है वो भी आपको 100% डेटा में डिवीजन करके दिखाएगा, और सिमिलरली पाई चार्ट भी आपको 100% में डिवीजन करके ही दिखाएगा. बट व्हेन टू आइडेंटिफाई द डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज एक्यूरेटली, देन पाई चार्ट प्लेज एन इम्पोर्टेंट रोल. मतलब जब आपको वो जो भी कैटेगरीज है उनका एग्जैक्ट परसेंटेज मालूम करना होता है, या फिर उसे कंपेयर करना होता है एक ही बार का या फिर एक ही टाइप के लिए, तब आप यूज़ कर सकते हो पाई चार्ट. जैसे यहाँ पे दिखा है आपको फेवरेट टाइप ऑफ मूवी, दैट इज द टाइप्स आर साई-फाई मूवीज, कॉमेडी मूवीज, एक्शन, रोमांस एंड ड्रामा. सो we can find, just seeing this graph, we can say that more people are more, the favorite movie or type of movie is romantic, means the more people gives importance to the romantic movies. Some people likes the action movies, and 20% people likes the comedy movies, while the only 5% of people like the dramatical or drama, the movies which are having the genre as drama. Okay, so we will move further. Now there is a subtype of pie chart, is the exploded pie chart. Now when you have to give the importance of a specific sector on that pie chart, then you use this exploded type of pie chart. Now in an exploded pie chart, one sector of the circle is separated or exploded from the other or the remaining part of the chart. It is used to lay emphasis on a particular element in the dataset. When you have to focus on this specific part or specific element, then this type of exploded pie chart is used. Now this figure shows it is a browser usage for April 2012. Again, these are the browsers which are used for the survey, or which consider the usage of this type of browser. So first is Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, Safari and Opera. So when we see on the pie chart, we can find out that this green means the Chrome is higher percentage of use during the April 2012, but we want to concentrate on the Internet Explorer or the use of Internet Explorer. That's why we have moved the Internet Explorer to the outside, or it is so we can identify which part we have to concentrate, right? So this was the exploded type of pie chart. Then there is one next type also, that is called as pie of pie chart. Means we are making a sub pie chart from the one sector of the main pie chart. Okay, so as the name suggests, a pie of pie is a chart that generates an entirely new pie chart from the existing one. So it can be used to reduce clutteredness, means the cluttering, or the we can say यहाँ पे ज़्यादा भीड़ ना हो, तो values की भीड़ ना हो उसके लिए, and lay emphasis on a particular group of elements, right? Okay, so we will move to the figure or the graph of this. Now this pie chart shows the some kind of data for the European countries. Now this is the list of all European countries. Now when the volume or the sector for that respective country or respective variable is more, we can identify it easily. But when the value or the we can say the sector is small, then it will become a cluttery diagram. Means अगर देखो इस छोटे से पार्ट में, यहाँ पे इटली का पार्ट है, 30% पार्ट इटली का कंज्यूम कर रहा है, आयरलैंड 17% कर रहा है, आइसलैंड 10% कर रहा है, और लेकिन अदर में सिर्फ 21% में यहाँ पे और 5 कंट्रीज है. तो यहाँ पे ये 20 का 5 अगर आप कर दोगे तो ये 4% की छोटी छोटी लाइन आ जाएगी. तो उससे आपको इंटरप्रेट, उस प्लॉट को इंटरप्रेट करना या फिर इनसाइट्स फाइंड आउट करना मुश्किल होगा. एट दैट टाइम वी यूज द पाई ऑफ पाई चार्ट. मीन्स for the other we will make another pie chart, and in that pie chart then we can differentiate all the countries or all the variables in that which are including in that other segment, right? So just like given here, the Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland and France, these are in others, so they are used here, right? So to avoid the cluttering in that data, or to see the data clearly, we use the method that is pie of pie chart. So again in the next video we will see the different types of graph. So thank you for watching the video.